Okay, let's go ahead and get the meeting started. 7 o'clock. Roll call. Melissa? Here. Jill? Here. Ben?
Here.
Lloyd? Here. And Michelle's here. Let's go with 5-year reconstruction plan. Mandy? Actually, Michelle. Are we going to open it up now for public, close the normal to open it up for the public? Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah, you should close it first.
Yep. Okay, so now we will close the special meeting at 7:01 to open it up to a public hearing. And we will let staff go and then we'll open it up for discussion.
So the city is looking at doing a couple street reconstruction projects within the next 5 years. And part of the new laws associated with street reconstruction is you can adopt a 5-year reconstruction plan. In that plan, it allows you to specify what projects you're going to do and how much the cost would be if you were to have to bond for them. So in this project, or in this street reconstruction plan, we've designated or specified that we have 2 projects coming up within the next 5 years. In 2017, we have the Garfield Avenue South and Montrose Meadows Phase 1 project for $500,000. And we have nothing in 2018 or 2019, and in 2020, we'll be doing the original town site of Montrose street reconstruction. The street reconstruction part of it itself is $2,100,000. So we've identified those 2 projects. By doing this street reconstruction plan, this is in lieu of doing assessments to the properties. So we do this instead of assessing the properties. We adopt the reconstruction plan, and then that also allows us to do bonding if we need to do bonding, which of course at $2 million we would need to do bonding. So that allows us to do bonding. You don't have to do those amounts. You can't go over the amounts we specified, but you don't have to bond for that amount. So when we start doing the Montrose Meadows and Garfield Avenue, the Garfield Avenue project we were going to pay with our cash reserves. We had talked about that previously, a number of months ago. But because the Montrose Meadows streets were in such bad shape, we had to include those with, so now the project is about a $500,000 project. So we're probably going to have to bond for some of that. We don't want to use all of our cash reserves. So by adopting this street reconstruction plan, the 5-year reconstruction plan, then that would allow us to do bonding without having to go through all the steps again. So it gives everybody the opportunity now to speak about it, and if they have any questions or concerns, we hold the public hearing now, and then we don't have to hold the public hearings again as the next projects come up. So I don't know if there's anybody that...
Anybody have any questions? Doug?
Can you add other projects
No.
if needed?
No, we'd have to do another 5-year, we'd have to do another street reconstruction plan if we're going to add other projects. So these projects came right off of our capital improvement plan that we adopted earlier in the year, or last fall, I can't remember when we did it.
And the Montrose Meadows plan was for originally 2021.
Was originally for 2020 with the downtown site, but we had to move it up because the street is in such bad shape. They don't, Sean didn't think it would make it through the winter.
Is there any other questions?
How much of an area is that going to take out there?
Pardon, I can,
How much areas are we talking about over there?
in the Montrose Meadows?
Yeah.
It's all of Phase 1, so it's part of 3rd Street South, part of Fairmont Avenue, and part of Fieldcrest Avenue.
Okay.
Till it gets to the second phase, and the second phase doesn't need to be redone.
So we'll do that whole.
There's a map in your, so actually, I'll bring that here.
Page 8, like.
I don't know if it's very big, but you can see in the yellow is the downtown town site, but in the pink is the Garfield Avenue and the Montrose Meadows. So it's just that little portion of Montrose Meadows.
Is there any other questions? Doug?
I just have a traffic question. That Third Street is a collector. And is the project's going to be done so that we're not going to get everybody coming down Third Street? I know that that'll happen for a time because Garfield will be virtually closed, right?
Montrose Meadows will be done in 2 phases. So Third Street is actually will be the second phase of the Montrose Meadows project. So first we're going to do the north-south roads essentially.
Okay.
And that way people that living on the north-south roads, being Fieldcrest and Fairmont, can park on Third Street. And then when it gets up to gravel grade, then we'll do Third Street. And we'll keep the intersection of the east one is Fieldcrest, or Fairmont is the east one. We'll keep the intersection of Fairmont open so that people can go from, basically they'll need to come in from Garfield Avenue then, Garfield and come around that way.
So where does Garfield fit into the timing?
It's all going to be kind of dependent, it's all going to be done somewhat together to some extent, but Garfield really will remain passable for the most part throughout the project. We're not excavating, it's just reclaiming, grinding up the existing and leaving it in place, so it'll be, for the most part, passable during the project.
Any other questions? Brooke?
I probably have a dumb question, but why I'm all for the bonding versus assessing, especially if I lived over there, I would not want to get an assessment at all. But I'm wondering why the city has changed from assessing as what was done previously until now going to bonding. I'm just wondering what the decision was, and I haven't seen the packet yet, so I don't know what the cost is for the bond.
We discussed, originally we were only going to do Garfield and we weren't going to bond for Garfield. We were going to use our cash reserves. And then, like he said, Montrose Meadows was going to be done with the original town site, at which time we would have done bonding and not assessed at that time either. That was the decision that was made back when we did the capital improvement plan. Because of the cost of assessing, the Garfield project was such a small project that if we would have tried to assess it, the amount that we could assess, and then if they appealed it and we have to hire appraisers, it ends up costing more than what we would have gotten out of the assessment. So basically it's because of the size of the project. The whole project cost we put in here was $500,000, but we probably aren't not going to bond for that much. So it was basically, we decided back when we were doing the capital improvement plan that the value that we would get out of doing the assessment probably wouldn't really be worth doing it because of the cost.
Any other questions? Okay, we will close the public hearing at 7:10. Reopen a special council meeting. We can go ahead and approve this now, correct?
So the next thing you do then is just adopt the resolution 2017-16, which approves the reconstruction plan and authorizes the issuance of general obligation street reconstruction bonds when needed.
Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2017-16.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Ben?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Jill?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Let's move on to award bids for Garfield Avenue, Montrose Meadows Phase 1 project. Justin?
Evening, Mayor and Council. On July 18th, we received 4 bids for the project. The bids range from the amount of $515,714.05 to $586,302. The engineer's estimate was $538,000. The low bid was submitted by Latour Construction of Maple Lake, Minnesota, and a bid abstract of those details of the 4 bids that were received is included in the packet, along with the breakdown of the cost between Section A and Section B Section A breakdown cost for Garfield Avenue is $168,559.85. Section B was $347,154.20, for a total of $515,714.25. Latour has worked for, has done city projects in the past. We would recommend them as a competent and qualified bidder to complete the project. Total project cost, including the engineering, the inspection, the construction admin, surveying, and testing, is about $590,000. So we would recommend that the city council award the project to Latour Construction in the amount of $515,714.05. Answer any questions. I did talk to Latour briefly to see what they thought for a schedule, at least preliminarily, when they thought they might get going. Their early indication was probably the end of August or early September. So
How long do they think it's going to take to complete?
they said 4 to 6 weeks. So I would say basically you're looking at September into mid-October. Should be fine.
Ready to
And
start?
we will, we had an open house meeting last week on Tuesday. And there was a few people that attended, really no big issues that came up. A few people asked general questions. One drainage item that came up in somebody's backyard that we're going to take a look at, see if we can help improve it with the project potentially. We don't have anything in the project for it right now. We'll take a look at it and see if there's something that we can do to improve it. And then we'll just send out another newsletter to all the residents when we do get a final date from the contractor and when it start. So keep that informed.
And this will help take care of all the ditch areas over in Hartville and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yep.
Any other questions?
Are you gonna put up a curb and gutter?
No curb and gutter.
No, I didn't think so. But that's on here.
There's curb and gutter in section B, I think you might be looking at. Yeah, section B, that's the Montrose Meadows project. We are replacing some curb on the Montrose Meadows project. It's all, for the most part, staying in place, but there's a lot of settled curb out there that holds water. So that's just replacing that curb.
Is there a motion then for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve contract with Latour Construction in the amount of $515,714.05.
I'll second that.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Jill? Aye. Melissa? Aye. Ed?
Aye.
No, aye. Motion passes 5-0. Sean?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. On page 14, first thing I need to ask you to do is, there's a couple typos on page 14. The end of the first paragraph, it says 2016, that should be 17. And then again at the end of the last paragraph, where it says 16, that should be 17 also. And scratch out fog ceiling. There will be no fog ceiling done this year. As we're all aware of, we try to do some seal coating of public streets every year. This is a continuation of many, many years of seal coating. This year, we're looking at seal coating. If you want to turn to page 18 in your packet, shows a map of the proposed areas that will be seal coated this year. Being Clementa Avenue, 2nd Street South, pretty much adjacent to where we're going to be reconstructing. Old Mindy Lane and Sherry Lane, 3rd Street South. We took, earlier this summer, we approached 3 different contractors to give us a bid on this project. And we have Pearson Brothers that came in out of Hanover for an amount of $44,432.14. Allied Blacktop from Maple Grove at $56,078.15. And Caldwell Asphalt out of Hardwick, Minnesota in the amount of $60,841.50. After reviewing the bids, we are recommending that the city proceed with Pearson Brothers from Hanover to complete the seal coating in the amount of $44,432.14.
This is within the planned budget for this year, right?
That is correct.
We actually budgeted about 80,000, so it's about half.
Part of that budget will probably go towards what you just approved. Knock the bottom down some.
Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the seal coating project, bid going to Pearson Brothers Inc. out of Hanover in the amount of $44,432.14.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? All right, Lloyd?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Jill? Aye. Melissa?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Regional Park update, Sean and Justin?
Mayor and council, as you were aware, the Army completed much of the grading out in the park in the month of June. They did run short on time out there. Combination of weather and limited amount of time. They didn't quite get some of the finished grading done out there. Kind of time came up and that was during some of the wettest part of the whole project, and had difficulty getting sand out of the pits to get the road finished. They did extend one of their rotations, an additional week, I believe it was, with a smaller crew to get a little bit more done, but they still fell short a little bit out there. So, all the mass grading got done, but the site was pretty rough where the baseball and softball field is, needs to be leveled out, and then just a number of areas. Sean's crew has been working on that area a lot the last 2 weeks. Rented some equipment and made some huge improvements out there. So it's looking a lot better. They're kind of concentrated on the area where the parking lot is and everything west of the roadway. So kind of where the stormwater pond is, tennis courts, picnic warming, house shelter area, that whole area. They got a lot of that done, or at least close to done anyway. The area that needs some work yet is the baseball and softball field area, essentially everything east of the parking lot area. We actually staked it out there to see on 50-foot grids to see what it was like, as far as how close it was to grade. And it varied, I would say generally speaking, it was within 6 inches cut or fill. There was some spots that was up to 1.5 foot. And then there's one area that has some big cuts that need to come out yet on the far east side of the site, east side of the softball field, right along County Road 12. Coming off that trail along County Road 12, that bank needs to come out of there, it needs to get steepened up right there. That's not per plan grade there, so. There was some, I'm not sure why they left that area the way they did. I don't really know, but there was some issues with a power pole there that we had to kind of hold off on. Not cutting around that and getting special permission from Excel, so I think they held off on that area and then never came back to it. So anyway, that's really where the biggest amount of volume of soil needs to come out of. Other than that, it's basically taking a grader out there and sort of moving the dirt around. Not balancing the site, just moving it around on the site. We talked to 2 contractors that have machine control, GPS machine control. That's typically most of the contractors, if you have a contractor that's doing this work, they typically do it with GPS machine control. That's the most accurate way of doing it. They got the machines right in their equipment that tells them exactly, within inches, how far up and down they have to go. So it works really well for a large grading site. So we got, what we did is we took the survey shots, we figured out how much volume of material needs to be moved to sort of gave that information to the contractors for them to give us a quote to finish that off and do that final grading on the site. We got a quote from Northern Lights Contracting, the amount of $21,900 to do that. And then there was a second quote from Fane Companies, the amount of $34,950. It's our recommendation to go ahead and have Northern Lights Contracting do that work, in the amount of $21,900. What that'll include is, like I said, basically leveling off the site, taking out the ups and downs throughout the site, taking out that large cut along County Road 12 and that one spot east of the softball field, and moving that dirt over to the west side of the site, kind of just south of the stormwater pond, and putting it over there. So I think that is the highlights.
I think that's pretty much the cut and dry. So.
That's where it looks like almost approaches are going to be built.
Yeah, it kind of looks like an approach. It's actually just south of there. So it's from that approach, sort of going to the south. That approach is where the trail comes in, the future trail that goes between the baseball and softball field. That'll be where that ties into the trail, the existing trail.
So that'll stay there.
That stays as is, right? Yep.
I have a question for you, Justin.
Yeah.
We've already had this discussion, well, it was brought to our attention anyway, that this is 49 work. So, how does that affect what you guys are asking right now? Because in different meetings that we have with them monthly, the union is pushing that this is their stuff, and we need to work with them.
Well, the unions, the contractors are the ones that work with the unions. So I guess to be honest with you, I'm not positive if Northern Lions, I'm pretty sure Northern Lions is union. I'm not positive on that, but I think they are.
But the 49ers have their unions that do the same stuff?
Well, it's not 49 specific work. I mean,
Right. Well, I mean, go ahead.
we don't obtain quotes or anything with the 49ers. We would get it through the contractors. I mean, that's a standard quote, and it's being it's under 100,000, we don't have to go off a public bid, so we don't have to do the public advertising process.
I spoke with the 49ers last week, Ray, and told him that we were going out for bid on this, and he did not have an issue with that.
Okay, good.
I just asked if we needed a recommendation for some contractors, and I told him that we had already approached contractors and said sounds like we got it covered, so.
I do have another question. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot, I guess. During this whole process, you kind of mentioned that you weren't sure how some of this, the areas didn't get leveled out, and, you know, the discussion that you just had. Who was supervising the project? How, I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, they had their own surveyors out there,
Right.
so they staked what they needed to do, so they knew what they needed to do.
Right.
And we were out there observing basically the areas. So when it came to, like, for instance, the pond, basically we worked with them to try to get things as close as they could. And at some point, we told them just go do something else, because any more time spent on grading the pond and trying to get it closer than what they had, it was probably going to be a lot of wasted time. It became apparent to us, like it took the Army a full, I think it was like 14-hour day to install a storm sewer pipe between the pond and the creek. And we had our inspector there trying to assist them with that, because that's just not something they typically do. And normally for a contractor, that would probably be a 2-hour project. And placing the riprap was the same way, very similar way, where our inspector was there trying to work with them, trying to tell them how to grade it, how to get it done. And at some point, it was basically just like, well, either you get in there and you do it yourself and run the equipment yourself, or you just say, yeah, it's close, it's not perfect, but that, you know, at that point, they were spending a lot of resources on that small little area. And there was a lot of work left to be done yet. So we felt like it was important for them to move on from that point and not spend additional time where they were ready to tell they weren't going to get done.
And that was the pond area?
That was the
What
pond
about the
area.
baseball area?
The baseball area was similar. We met with the Army out there when they had about, I think it was 5 days left, 6 days left on their full rotation schedule. Met with the person in charge out there, and basically everybody out there could see that the work was not going to get done. You know, they had a lot of work. At that point, I think they had the black dirt maybe 50% done on this baseball and softball field area, and it was very, very rough. I mean, they were using scrapers to put it in, so it brought it up. And, you know, we asked the question about that, well, what's going to happen? Obviously, there's a lot of work left here to do, and their response was, well, we got this many number of days left. Where do you want us to concentrate our efforts? And we said, concentrate on the road, getting the road done, so that we could get into the site, get that done. And so that's where they concentrated their efforts. We said then, secondly, concentrate their efforts on the west side of the road, the baseball and softball field area, because we felt like that was the area that would require the most amount of equipment power, manpower that Sean's Creek probably couldn't do. So we told them to concentrate on that area next, and basically at that point, they were down to a skeleton crew of a couple people, and it was very wet and a lot of rain at that time. So basically at that point, everybody realized that they weren't going to get done, and they tried to do the best they could with what they had, and their surveyors were gone at that time as well. Their surveyors left with the first rotation, or the second rotation, and that was over. So when they had that extended week, they didn't have the surveyors out there. They didn't have machine control. So they did the best with what they had available. You know, everybody realized that at that point. And we could have spent more time talking about what to do at that point, but we're like, well, we'll see how far you get in the week. I mean, there's nothing we can do at that point, so.
I think one thing we have to keep in mind is this was their training. They're not
Right.
experts at this. So, I mean, as much as they got done, just was that much less than it was going to cost us. And if we can get by with $25,000 and some cost of us renting equipment, that's pretty good compared to the $500,000 it could have cost us to hire somebody in to do the whole thing. So,
What's the cost so far of the equipment we rented the last couple of weeks?
Well, the dozer gets charged per hour. I don't know how many hours we've used it, and the backhoe is $1,600 a week. We've had it less than a week.
So we may be looking at $30,000 between the two, between our equipment and if we hire it in.
Very minimal compared to what it could have been.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were up front with the Army right away. We wanted them to get the project done, and told them that was hopefully the first priority. I mean, there's not a lot you can really do. You're not in a contract situation that's all volunteer work.
That's all.
Included in that packet that Sean, or that Maggie handed out, on the back page where I've got some numbers in there. The top is where we started. I didn't add in any kind of revenue because it's only the pennies for parks and the cans for kids is all that goes in there, so I didn't even put that in. The total expenses to date, giving us where we're at so far. Our LGA, the first half has just come in now, so, but once we add our LGA back in, and then the estimated expenses that we haven't gotten billed for yet will be about $16,000 in the red or in negative, which in our capital improvement plan, we identified that we were going to be $15,000 probably, that we'd have to use from next year's $75,000. So we're only off by about $1,000. And then with whatever we need to pay to get it finished, will still come out of next year's $75,000. So we can pay for it this year, pay ourselves back out of our LGA in 2018. So we'll be back to the good.
So the LG that we have now, the 75,000, we'll take the 21,900 out of that. Our LG was that? Next
The 75,000. So if you take the 67,089, which is where we're at now in the negative, add in the 75,000, subtract out the rest of those expenses that are down to that 24,095.
Yeah.
It'll put us back at 16,000 negative, but like I said, in 2018, we'll pay ourselves back. And even if we finish this off, with the 20-some thousand or with the equipment rental, 30,000, we're still, next year's LGA would pay us back, and we'd be back to,
You'd still have like roughly 30.
and we'd be back, yep, we'd be back to building the fund back up again for future projects in that, on that park.
So no building in the future, for a few years at least.
Well, we want to keep applying for the grant for that anyway, so,
The grant that we just did.
yeah, we can keep applying each year for it.
Is there any questions or discussion? We got any questions?
I don't think you can at a special meeting.
Anybody? No, we can't.
Does it have to do with topic or?
Regional Park?
Absolutely. Just tell me when I can. What meeting can I go to and ask questions? And I'll do that.
I mean, you can you can put a request into me to have something on the agenda for the August meeting, or you can come to the meeting and do an open forum request at that meeting as well.
Okay. So I can't ask anything until August. Okay.
Or you can, I mean, you're welcome to ask questions of staff after the meeting, if you want to get,
Or meet with
or
staff.
meet with staff, or set up a meeting, if you want those questions answered at any time.
Is there any discussion from council?
Tanner, I have a question. So we're estimating the equipment, like the additional rental of the equipment that we're gonna need for these contractors to come in and finish it to be around 8,000, or do these quotes include that?
These quotes include all the equipment for the work that
They're
they're doing. Right, the equipment we're talking about is the equipment Sean's used, has been using to do everything west of the road.
Okay.
So, just a quick.
Not right now. Oh, because I don't know, it doesn't. You might have another question.
With the work that the guys have been doing, how much is that? I mean, I know they're putting in a lot, so how much does that save us by doing that?
Don't say it still costs.
Well, I mean,
Pretty
it
much
costs
had
us
to
them,
totally reconstruct the stormwater pond. It's about 95% complete as it sits right now. The area between the parking lot and the road, that was left severely low. If it were to rain, it would have been a lake. That's completed. We also worked on the area where the tennis courts, there was some big cuts in there. That's where we took the clay material out of there to fill in the low spots on the east side of the road between the parking lot and the road. If I were to estimate that, 15,000 approximately. And we're probably looking at no more than 5 that we spent on equipment. Probably closer to 4 if I were to get the hours off that one machine.
Okay. Any other questions on the park? All right, recreational vehicle ordinance amendment.
Do we need to approve this?
Yes.
Approve of it?
Oh, yeah, 21.9.
Both from Northern Lines for 21,900.
Is there a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid for the regional park from Northern Lines Contracting totaling $21,900.
I'll second.
Ben?
Aye.
Lloyd? Jill?
Aye.
Melissa? Aye. And I'll vote aye, motion passes 5-0.
Mayor and Council, at the July 19th
on Wednesday, July 19th, the Planning Commission held a regular meeting where they held a public hearing to further discuss additional changes to the 1019-4 parking, or 1019-4, 3 general provision restrictions on parking and 1019-4 parking stall, aisle, and driveway design related to recreational vehicles. At this specific meeting, they discussed or made a recommendation to council. Council then had a meeting after that, a special council meeting after that, where they discussed and came to the conclusion where they wanted language drafted that would include change the current language from 2 to 3, allowing 2 to 3, to changing it to 3 recreational vehicles allowed on a property, and also including language that would allow at least one of those vehicles in the front yard on a approved surface like a driveway. The language also that was maintained was language that was approved at a previous public hearing in June I believe it was May, for and that language is still included in there as well, such as parking area definition, kind of the standards for what a parking pad will look like, also the accessibility of that pad from the driveway. And so staff drafted, based on the discussion at the last council meeting, staff drafted that language that would reflect what motion was made, and so that ordinance is in front of you today for adoption.
Is there any discussion on that? Ben?
What was the vote from the planning and zoning?
So the recommendation from planning and zoning to council was to maintain.
No, the vote. How many yay, how many nay?
It's two
Well,
totally different things.
They made a
Okay,
they made a recommendation to maintain 2 recreational
Okay, so they
vehicles.
didn't vote, they didn't.
Their recommendation to council was to maintain the 2 and
Okay.
to have seasonal parking with permitting. And so what they recommended was that twice a year, stickers would be, and registration would occur at City Hall. That was the recommendation that they gave to City Council. The City Council discussed it. They decided that the permitting and and having two different seasonal passes for these vehicles would be burdensome on staff, and enforcement of that would be also burdensome. And they also, with their discussion, decided to increase it, to allow 3 recreational vehicles. I did forget to say that they did include, they did agree upon language that would allow a boat parked on a trailer to be counted as 1 recreational vehicle, and that all additional recreational vehicles, according to the definition, would be considered an additional 1 recreational vehicle on site.
Discussion on that?
So we had considerable discussion between 2 hours, constituents, planning and zoning, and council. It was kind of just an open discussion amongst everyone. And we definitely went back and forth for a while, and then I think it was Tracy that had said, you know, what if you do a boat in a trailer is 1, a 4-wheeler in a trailer is 1, but as soon as you add a second one, that now becomes 2, to try to restrict the fact that you could hypothetically have 3 trailers with 5 4-wheelers each and have 15 4-wheelers plus 3 trailers in your yard. And so, what's that?
That was the first one. Yeah, that was her.
That was the first motion that passed and then failed, sorry, that was put out and then failed, and then we went back and had some more discussion, and then ultimately kind of came up with the thought that, you know, a boat and a trailer is definitely 1, you can't have one with the other, why would that count as 2? two. And then I thought that we had agreed that, and I don't see it in here specifically, that a boat, or sorry, a trailer with a four-wheeler or a trailer with a jet ski is gonna be considered one, but then,
So that would be the motion, because I did the minutes today, and what was specifically stated was that a boat and a trailer would be considered one, and all else would be considered its own separate. And it passed 3-1.
So what it technically is the two on the side, one in the driveway.
And didn't they say that the snowmobile and the trailer constitute as one?
No, it
I
went
think
into,
that was the second one that we did.
we tried, it was tried, but
And
it,
there was more discussion and we had.
Because they're not married to each, I would have to say no, because they're not married to each other. You can have a snowmobile without a trailer, you can have a trailer without the snowmobile. So to me, they're not married to each other, so I would say that they're two.
because my thought was too, since I have a trailer that holds four four-wheelers, I could put that one trailer with all four four-wheelers.
and that would be
That would be
considered
one.
one.
No, it would have been,
No, based on the way that I understood it, it would have been four. Because a
then
boat
that would be one and one then.
A boat, doesn't matter.
You should have been here.
Doesn't matter.
It was
I have
fine.
my own interpretation of that.
Vacation was more fun than that.
Do you have any other discussion? You're good with the two and the one? We're good, okay. So let's we have to make a motion.
I thought we did that meeting.
Are we just clarifying or just discussion?
I guess my thing was, you guys already approved this language. That is just coming in front of me today as an official ordinance. Just wanted to present that language to you, because I think that's the direction that was given at the meeting.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2017-7.
You can,
It's already been, that's what we were just saying.
Oh, we don't need to.
We don't need to do it. No.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You need to approve the ordinance because this is an ordinance amendment,
Yeah.
and it needs to be published, so you need to approve this ordinance to get it published.
Did we approve it last week?
well,
didn't
you
have
made
to-
a motion, you made a motion to draft the language
Okay.
to
You're good.
present this ordinance.
Is there a second? Did we get the second? If there's no second,
Are we
what's
sure
there?
that there wasn't discussion on,
There was discussion on what you were thinking of earlier. That was, I think, maybe the second motion, because I made like 4 motions that night.
Mm-hmm.
And this was only the last one that passed. And they all had different variations.
And this was, I know Mark was working on this during the meeting so that it reflected exactly what you guys made a motion on.
Yeah.
is that recorded?
A boat and a trailer was one, everything else was considered individual. What was there?
It's kind of hard to have a boat in your yard without a trailer, so that would actually be one. Everything else would stand alone, so.
So we have a motion.
Jet skis can stand alone. You can get trailers that, for loading them in the back of your pickup truck. So a jet ski could be considered just one by itself.
So we have a motion. Is there a second? Would not hear any second.
I'll second it, but I really do want to listen to your busy thinking, so I'll do that tomorrow.
Do you want to table it until you hear it? No. Because then you're going to vote. Okay. Okay. There's a first and a second. Melissa.
Aye.
Ben.
No.
Jill.
Aye.
Lloyd. Oh, dear God. I'm gonna have to go with the no, just so that Jill can have a chance to listen to the tape and get the clarification correct. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
I-
Any opposed?
Who seconded?
Dexter seconded it,
I'll
unless
second, yeah.
unless Michelle seconded it.
I'm seconding it and thirding it.
Okay.
Because boy, this is a nightmare.